I'll go ahead and explain this. The biggest thing that I end up missing about doing role-playing stuff online is the inability to convey characters through body language. It has been the... I don't know whether it's the single greatest frustration, but it is one of my greatest frustrations as a narrator who likes to convey so many characters. My voice is only capable of so much, and I became so good as a teenager with developing mannerisms and communicating, with my body to express different character attitudes. And that's something which is sorely missed here, if only because so many people are like, internet camera, fuck no! I'm like 14, dude, my parents will find out that I have to explain to my mom, or... I don't roleplay with anyone who's 14 these days, but...
Yeah, Jake finally grew up.
Well, he wasn't that young whenever, I think he was only 16. I have to remember sometimes that Dark is just as young. Through the powers of ageism, I had labeled him into an older category. And then whenever I found out that he's pretty much as fucking old as Jake, I was like, shit. And that's when all of the pieces started sticking together, and I started sweeping him into, like, this fucking... Oh, he's so young, like Ben.
So young and innocent.
Yes, innocent. So young and corruptible. Since we talk about you and how you're trying to like create a campaign, all of us as GMs have our own sort of like different preferences and how we like to do things. Malachi loves to build worlds. That's his fucking obsession. You like to make maps. That's something that you like to do. And we have different elements that we like. You, for example, like dragons. I, for example...
It's not a secret, it's true.
Well, I do like undead. I don't tend to incorporate them so much, although... Now that I think about it, every fucking campaign I've uploaded to my channel is undead. Vampire the Masquerade, vampires, all flesh must be eaten, is zombies. Fuck it, that doesn't matter.
I mean, Star Wars wasn't.
Yes, there we go. Genius. And I still have like 6 sessions of that'll be made public whenever I resume the channel activities. Anyway, one of the primary things that I like in tabletop gaming is the element of corruption. Voluntary corruption through situations which present themselves to players whereby they might not like shift their alignment so much as shift their outlook. I like the growth of the heroic story by presenting it with consequences in situations which aren't so prevalent in high fantasy so much as they are, say, Call of Cthulhu or Warhammer. I like the aspect of challenging the characters' minds without doing, like, mind control and shit, because when you get into, like, all that illusory magic, then you just piss off the players and they don't trust anything.
Yeah, I've noticed that in Dark's campaign, where he has made extensive use of mind control by NPCs, and now the PCs are just, like, completely paranoid. It doesn't help that Menakai's character has an aboleth in his basement, but yeah.
So yes, whenever you have situations like that, like, you walk into campaigns with, varying amounts of player trust depending on who they are and what they've experienced. But when you demonstrate that your campaign can exhibit, like, levels of mind control and screwing with perception, then player trust goes out the fucking window. Because they start to question everything more than they might already have done so. Like, I'm the type of player who will go into, like, a dungeon and I keep looking at the fucking ceiling as I expect, like, an ooze to be up there and drop on top of me and eat me, right? Those are my experiences. Whereas, I don't like to incorporate those in, say, 13th Age, for instance, in part because that's not the type of magic which exists, and also because that gets on the player's nerves. But corruption, that's something I can get behind. It's, especially when it's presented as choices. Like, you have opportunities to select things, and they can be beneficial, and they can also be detrimental. Some players have chosen corruption paths in the course of this campaign. I just came up in my head. Just a conversation topic. You have anything before we get started?
Uh, Not exactly.
Okay.
Just let me turn on my webcam as well because it's probably weird for you to just face a monitor and pretend I'm a
Dude,
person.
I have spoken to a monitor and a microphone for
That's
thousands
true,
of
yeah.
hours.
That is true.
It's up to you on what you want to do.
I might as well, if it still works. Oh, it does. No. It's just a bit weird because I have two monitors and I'm never looking at my actual webcam, so it looks like I'm just talking to the floor.
It's well, fucking deal with it.
Oh, YouTube was certainly happy when I turned on my webcam in session 1.
Yes, they wanted to know where more of that was, and I was like, dude, that was just a thing that he and Griff were doing. I have no fucking control over that shit.
Yeah, the main problem is just that Skype just lets me do 4 hours of this and then it shuts down. So
Yeah, but-
halfway through the session, it's just gone.
That's when you have to start the call and then restart the call, and everyone can do it again. It's like whenever you do like group screen sharing, it takes 4 hours, and then due to the free nature of Skype, it closes down. I think if you have Skype Professional, you're good.
So what's... Oh, that's a shoebox. It looks weird. It's distracting me. Oh, that's a...
I love that environment.
There we go.
I love that environment conscious feeling that comes with like looking at the webcam and then looking back behind you.
Looks
Wait.
weird from that perspective.
Wait, you can see that? Shit. Oh man. Okay. We begin where we ended then. Thomas, you're in a stone room, lashed upon an altar, naked and helpless. As seen here. You easily recall how you got here. You volunteered. You chose to try infiltrating the Scarlet Serpents, and you agreed to be restrained while injected with a mysterious liquid. The memories of pain still burn through your mind, mental scars to mark your exquisite agony, but your body is now full of tranquil energy and inexplicable repose. It's a staggering contrast, but you manage to adapt. Before we get more into this, Sheep, at any point, especially since we are one-on-one, do not hesitate to ask for more detail about anything. I made a joke about this being like an adventure game thing, so if you want to, like, interrupt stuff to go, like, examine room, examine altar, examine door, I'll do what I can for you. Got it?
Okay.
Okay. The commanding woman with russet hair, the one who collared Calorel, she looks over at the stunned warlocks. Leave us. Take the other recruits with you. The warlocks do not hesitate in acting, herding the 3 humans through the western door. And then they edge out themselves. Ellie is the only one who puts up any resistance, not wanting to leave you, but her struggle is mild at best. So, the russet-haired woman turns back to look at you. Let's begin. You may call me Scarlet. Who might you be?
You may call me Thomas.
Thomas. Got a surname, Thomas?
Thomas should suffice. I don't think it matters.
Thomas. The Scarlet looks back at Callie, the collared Calorel, who still has a mixture of fear, confusion, and anger on her face, as she looks between you, still not recognizing you, and she looks at Scarlet. Scarlet reaches over and taps the much taller woman on the shoulder and says, Thomas. You remember Thomas? Tom, that's not, what does that have to do with it? Thomas. Perhaps the target that you were supposed to... He might look a bit different now. At that point, Calorel, she edges around and looks past Scarlet at you, and her confused face and her fearful face grows into a mixture of loathing as she glares down and begins sputtering out. And she immediately tries to launch herself at you, and the much smaller woman bats her away and sends her flying back into the wall. Now, Callie, dear, slave, if you would be so kind as to behave, and not harm him unless I allow it, you can stay. Callie will get back up to her feet and continue glaring and sputtering, but say nothing more. Fantastic. I'm glad she recognizes you. Yes, so, Thomas, welcome. This is, as of this moment, the lair of the Scarlet Serpents. Now, here's what's going to happen. I don't have any immediate interest in killing you. That could change. And it would be beneficial in some aspects for me to kill you. I could finish the job that she couldn't. I could get her as my slave for life instead of for a short term. Could receive accolades, promotion. However, I'm willing to give you a chance.
Why?
How about this? I'll ask you a series of questions, and at the end, I'll give you some questions of your own, based on how detailed your answers to me are, and how honest you're being with me.
Let's make this a proper conversation then, shall we? I mean, naked on an altar in chains is not exactly the most pleasant now, is it? We can talk like two proper adults, can't we?
Well... Tempting, but I don't think I can trust you, given your current predicament. I don't think you had any friendly intentions towards me by coming here, and by releasing you from your currently prone and helpless position, I might be giving you an advantage.
Alright, if you think that I'm a danger to you, then that's, But I do have to say that anything I did here was not specifically directed at you. You were just, this was the only way to find more about a certain, group of creatures. Right. One that Calorel over there might have mentioned to us. She is the reason I'm here, if you think about it, really.
Oh, you're already answering things without me having to answer questions. Splendid. You can hear, thin, guttural, sounds of anger as, Calorel, lifts her hands and attempts to strangle you from the other side of the room without succeeding. All right, Callie, behave. She lowers her hands. So, why don't you tell me more about... How long have you been here? I wasn't even aware you were in Blue City.
Oh, it's been 2 weeks now, maybe a little longer, I think. Came here on a boat, looked for a place to stay. We took a place to stay, and,
What brought you here? You had to have heard of this from somewhere. What made you think the Scarlet Serpents would be an ideal place for you to pretend to want to join?
I mean, that was mostly information brought to me by my companions. They had information that Calorel was here, and since Calorel was the one who gave us the information about things in the first place, this seemed to be the obvious place to go. The only place to go, really.
Scarlet turns to look over at Calorel. I see. Maybe I shouldn't have kept you around after all. She chuckles and looks back at you and says, "All right. You mentioned your companion, so you're not alone here in Blue City, then."
Oh, no. That would be silly, wouldn't it?
And yet you're here. Alone.
Yes. I mean, I got where I wanted after all. Having friends with me would have attracted attention, and assuming that nothing strange would have happened, I'm pretty sure that everything would have gone all right.
Where you wanted, huh?
Yeah.
She looks down the length of your body and then back to your face. All right. So, you came here to Drakenhall, seeking information after your prior encounter with Calorel, learned of her presence here, sought to infiltrate the Scarlet Serpents in order to learn more about her and whatever was happening here, thinking that it could give you more information about
The Fall.
You told him about that too. Oh, I suppose you thought. I suppose you thought he wouldn't live. How about that? All right. So, how long have you been alive, Thomas?
Oh, it must be 25, 30 years at this point.
What did you do before deciding to strike off across the Midland Sea heading towards the City of Monsters?
Well, I started with just, was looking for excitement, fun. I was born in a small village after all, so I went to Santa Cora to become a guard. That was certainly some exciting years of my life.
I imagine you've had more exciting times here within your short stay than you did in Santa Cora.
More of the same, really.
Oh? Former guardsman in Santa Cora ends up here. Certainly not the first trip anyone's ever taken, although the fact that you attract so much attention must give you some sense of wonder or confusion.
You could say that.
And indeed I did. What else? I didn't really plan for... Well, I didn't know I'd have this opportunity. You have attracted quite a bit of interest, and you aren't in my purview, unlike Callie over there. How about that, Callie? Callie mutters. Well, why don't you tell me a bit more about... Do you dream, Thomas?
I do.
What do you dream about?
That is rather a personal question, don't you think?
Yes.
I see.
You don't have to answer.
I mean, it would be simply polite for me to do so, wouldn't it? We are adults, as I said, so... I mean, my dreams do vary quite a bit. Sometimes, well, clear pictures about situations, people, creatures. Other times it's simply a jumbled mess of nothing. I figured that was pretty normal for a dream. The former, of course, has proven to be quite useful in the past. Showing things that I haven't seen yet, that haven't happened yet, even.
Do you regularly dream about events which later go on to occur, or people you've never met whom you later go on to see?
Regularly, no. Occasionally, yes.
How do you feel during these dreams, visions?
Well, odd describes it probably the best. It is rather disorienting at times.
Have you ever had the sensation that your mind or your body were not your own?
I suppose. A lot of things can happen in dreams.
I mean after the dream. Once
Oh.
you're awake.
I suppose so.
You told me about what you did growing up in a small village and then heading to become a guardsman at Santa Cora. You have any family?
Not exactly, not proper family, anyways. I have friends. I was raised by an older couple who, well, are, well, gone now.
You never knew your parents?
No.
No siblings?
No. Why does this all matter to you? Seems rather a strange thing to ask of me.
We'll sweep that in with all of your other questions once I'm done.
Sure.
What's your favorite number?
Well, not 3. Or 4 for that matter, actually. That narrows it down somewhat, I would say.
Depends on your definition of somewhat. Do you have a favorite number?
Not particularly.
What if
One is a good number, for example.
All right, then. So be it. My questioning is done. As your favorite number is 1, well, we'll take it. Nah, that's what you said. Think carefully, then. Frame in your mind one question which you would like to ask me, or I suppose Callie over there if you're so inclined. You can take your time. You haven't been here for too long. You've got a few days until you start.
All this polite answering, and all I get is one question.
You said your favorite number is 1.
I suppose I did.
You know, you have been polite. How about we give you 4 questions?
That is certainly more acceptable, I guess.
Good. I'm glad you find it agreeable. And take some time. Look around, unless you don't want me to go and you can think of your questions right now.
I think I got my question. At least my first question.
All right, then.
A simple one, really. What am I to you?
I like that question. You are opportunity for me, Thomas. Callie, saw you as opportunity as well, though in a different way than I do. I have not been formally tasked by my superiors to kill you. In fact, I was not even told of your presence here. As such, unless you provoke me, I see no reason to kill you. Instead, I wish to exploit my opportunity in another fashion. So that is what you are to me, Thomas. Opportunity and a curiosity.
I think I'll keep the obvious question for last. You said I was not human. That is not a question, that is a statement. What am I then?
Diviners within Blue City foretold of an entity like yourself, Thomas. It is said, with some mixture of suspicion and a measure of salt, that the most powerful of draconic entities, the singular one, who has devoted his life to guarding from demonic invasion, would, by the end of this age, find a means by which to affect the greater world once again. His influence has greatly diminished and waned throughout the Dragon Empire. His power has been so thoroughly consumed with suppressing demons that he has been unable to turn his attention to any of the other concerns his dwindling paladins focus on. Thus, the Great Gold Worm, with its considerable power and its millennia of experience, spanning back more ages than the Dragon Empire could fathom, found a means by which it could affect the world in a greater capacity again. As it turns out, you are that vessel of the Great Gold Worm's hopes and ambitions for the Dragon Empire. So it is said.
You know, I'll actually make that my third question. You are kidding, right?
No, not at all. As I noted to Callie, if you were human, or for that matter, any other humanoid creature, your body would have been consumed by the concoction with which you were injected. It would have changed, and considering how greatly I heard you writhed in pain, and how thoroughly your body almost succumbed to change, you are, in some essences, human, but you are most certainly not. The fact that you remain fully intact, without any scales or other signs of transformation to show for it, reveal that your heritage is not what you previously suspected. In fact, there is a hue to you. You cannot see it too well. Callie, why don't you fetch the dear a mirror, please? And do make it quick. The large ranger, scarred as she is, will step out of the room. Scarlet, with her confident smile, smelling faintly of mint and summer rain, just look at the ceiling. She'll look at this back here, which if you do, tilt your head just so, there's a mural of Sardior, the dragon deity of night and secrets, along that southern wall. He appears long and sinewy, and he is the color of rubies. After a minute, Callie does return with a lengthy mirror, as if she decided to just take like an entire like body-length mirror and like cart it through and set it down right here. And Scarlet says, "Now, I know it's a bit troubling for you given your current situation, but do try to look."
Thomas will certainly take a look at himself in the mirror.
Thomas notices, first off, that despite the incredible pain that he went through, his body does appear through the bindings completely intact. Also, that the immense number of ropes keeping him helpless are frayed a little bit. Not enough that Thomas thinks he could escape from this with any immediacy, but enough to demonstrate that in his however long he struggled, he actually managed to wear down the numerous bindings. There's also a certain difference in his countenance, his facial complexion. Initially, you might pass that off as, oh, it's part of the disguise ritual that was put on me. But you recall that you can see through that just fine. No, your eyes, in particular, have a gaze which is almost unnerving. The color has slightly shifted. You notice that there are golden and silvery flecks now, which are embedded in Thomas's irises. And it's almost as if the irises themselves have swiveled a little bit, which is not something like, the fact that I'm even describing irises to you is not something Thomas would know, like the injector thing either. Like the very part that makes the color of his eyes has like it's on like a dial. It's twisted, so not even his eyes look the same at all. It's completely different. Add to the fact that his skin, his light skin, has it's not as if it's emitting light, but it almost as if it has a golden hue to it, and not enough to like cast like like immediate like eye catching. Again, it doesn't broadcast light, but as you stare at yourself, you can almost see it emanating from your skin. You appear, for all their intents and purposes, as you did.
Well, isn't that something?
Is that your fourth question?
That was not a question. That was a statement again.
Callie, why don't you leave the mirror here, dear? And, Callie, still glaring at you angrily, pulls the mirror back to the wall there and resumes her kneeling position on the floor.
So then, I have many more questions, but apparently I've only been given 4 questions, so I guess I have to ask the obvious question first.
Those are free questions. If you wish to ask more, we can cross that after you ask your last one.
Sure. So, who are the 4?
The 4 are the future of the Dragon Empire, and it is their idea and prowess that I, as do all in the Black Fang, well, not all, I shouldn't make such a sweeping statement, but all those who are both in power and intelligent will inevitably follow. The 4 will bring a sweeping change to this land, and undoubtedly bring about the end of the 13th Age.
That would answer the question, what are the 4, but not who are the 4. If we are already limiting questions, then I would at least like the answer to my actual question.
Well, the 4 are comprised of 3 entities you've heard of. You would know them by color flavors: blue, black, and red. The 4th, I cannot say.
You don't know, or you cannot say.
Is that another question?
Just wondering, really. I mean, it would seem strange that you follow something that you don't even know what it is, so I'm just assuming that you're unwilling to say, which is rather rude, I think, because I've held nothing back.
Well, perhaps if our roles were reversed, and I was the one strapped to an altar in the basement of your establishment, after having tried to infiltrate it, perhaps I would be different in my answers.
Perhaps. On the other hand, you're obviously still scared of me for whatever reason, because you think I am what you said I was. Meaning,
Scared? No, I think I could handle you. But I've been known to be wrong in my years of life. I try not to take risks. It's how I've become as successful as I've been, and how I haven't been collared like a certain someone else. Calorel sneers.
I see. I guess there's no sense pressing the matter then. I am a guest after all, and that would be very rude.
Well, you have certainly presented yourself in a becoming manner for one who follows the Great Gold Worm. Really, actually, you've done it a bit better. Perhaps some arrogance or something from you, some hostility about the situation. I thought you had come to kill me.
Perhaps I would have given the chance, but you are not the problem I'm after. You are just one of the symptoms, really.
A symptom? A symptom of
Perhaps,
what?
perhaps symptom is not the right word. Perhaps you, as well as many others, are one of the victims, really. I mean, what you're doing here with your organization is very interesting because, giving the desperate a choice, as bad of a choice it is, that is something I can respect. Now, the rest, of course, is a bit. I mean, I wouldn't quite have done it that way, but, I like the general idea. I don't think you are quite as bad as I would have imagined you to be, at least. This whole thing, I mean, it could be something good, even.
How honest is Thomas being here with his expression?
Pretty honest.
Okay.
Probably playing it a bit more than he would have, but that's certainly his opinion.
Well, that's a fresh idea. You know, I like you. And I'm glad circumstances have brought us together, and that you've ended up on my doorstep. Tell you what, Scion of the Great Gold Worm, I'm feeling exceptionally generous. Why don't I give you another... Oh, we'll say... 5 more questions, if you've got anything.
Oh, that's quite generous.
Yes? With the same caveat that, of course, you might not be able to trust anything I tell you, given that you and I might be on hostile terms, and I still haven't decided whether I'm going to let you leave here alive, although I am leaning towards it.
Well then, I do have a good question, I think.
All right.
Why do you do what you do?
It's an exceptionally broad question. I am interested in power. Power is life. It is security. It is comfort. the ability to make choices to continue my existence for other things that I want. Without power, it all crumbles. Motivation of fear, motivation of security, motivation of hatred, motivation of vengeance. So much gets wrapped up into who I am, I'm sure, and I don't have the time freely to give you a comprehensive discourse on why I do what I do. Suffice to say, my primary motivation, goal, is power, and my current position and what I do is to achieve that.
I don't think it is. I think you only want said power to survive in a place like this. I think you would just like to have a good life. Like so many of us. I think you don't quite even know why you do what you do. I think there's more to you.
Are you trying to convert me?
You have said yourself that I present opportunity. That goes multiple ways, I think.
Oh my. Well, I'll take what you said under consideration, but considering my current position and your current position, I'm comfortable where I am, as of now.
Things change quickly, usually.
Oh, that's a good lead-in. I should have thought of this sooner, but you made me so comfortable. So you isolated yourself from your companions to come here. What are your companions going to do?
Whatever they feel like doing, I assume.
Have any discussion about what happens if you don't come back, or what were you supposed to do in here, rather?
Well, my job was simply to infiltrate, find any advantage we can, and potentially open the opportunity for a way for us to find out what you know. That didn't work, of course, not in the exact right way, anyways. And if you are going to, whatever, torture me or something to find out what my companions are planning, I have to disappoint you, I think. I don't know. It was quite the discussion to get me to do this in the first place. They all had reasons why they couldn't, or wouldn't, or didn't want to. But it is something that just had to be done because this place has been our only lead. And as bad as my current situation seems maybe, I would have found it even worse if I had decided not to come here in the first place.
Oh?
I mean, it would have meant that I was simply too worried about whatever happens to me to not do something that might benefit a lot of people.
And do you think what you've already learned in your current predicament could bring benefit to a lot of people?
I think it has helped my perspective in certain things.
But I imagine not the perspectives of your companions. Tell me, did you by chance, or did your companions by chance think that you could somehow destroy this? And she, rotates her body with, her hands gestured up.
My companions think a lot of things. I don't quite understand most of them, I have to admit, but in the past, most things that they have set out to do, they have succeeded in. I wouldn't underestimate them. I certainly don't.
I do know a few things about your companions, as well as you. Part of the information I've been given, particularly after Callie's failure, in case we should encounter your group, for you made quite a name for yourselves.
Certainly comes with what we do, what we've done in the past at least.
Yes, you have ruptured plans. Of that there is no doubt.
And I assume that we will continue to do so.
That I cannot say.
We'll certainly try. If we are successful or not, that's a whole other story.
Yes, once again looking down the length of the altar. So it is.
So, 4 more questions I have, right?
Yes, I do believe that entire discussion was resolving one of them.
And I'm being rather efficient. I like it.
You hear Calorel grumble again about wanting to kill you.
So, what is the deal with Calera over there?
She looks back. Her goal, as issued by the Black Fang, the famed, infamous, legendary, eminently terrifying Black Fang, was to kill you. She failed. And in exchange for her life, she had to suffer a demotion, which in this case put her under my control. At least for a time. We used to be equals. I like the shift. Isn't that right, Callie, dear? Callie doesn't say a thing.
And she blames it all on, in part, me, of course. That makes sense.
You were her target, along with your companions, and from my understanding, she was, pleased that you fell into her lap until she couldn't defeat you, despite what she thought were her numerous lists of advantages, and she was very adamant on blaming just about everything under the sun.
Except the structure of her own organization, of course.
Except for herself.
I see.
But Callie, turning to walk back towards her, and to put, a hand condescendingly on top of the woman's head, which even on her knees, comes up to Scarlet's, torso. Callie here just can't accept the fact that she lost. She lost to a determined and capable group, whom among its members was a scion of the Great Gold Worm, whom she was warned about, but thought she could handle anyway. I know better. Isn't that right, Callie? She ruffles the woman's hair.
And I assume that for her to reclaim her previous position, it's going to be quite difficult.
You can assume that.
It's not a great answer, but I'll take it.
I didn't know it was a question. Was it a question?
It was, yeah.
All right, then. Yes, it will. If I were to kill you and turn you into my superiors, she wouldn't have any hope of recovery at all. But you haven't given me any incentive yet.
And you have other plans, I assume.
Yes. You can assume that.
I don't suppose you would mind sharing those, because, they do affect me rather significantly.
I don't think that's worth a question. You and I are still on opposite sides here. I don't think I should tell you that much.
Still on opposite sides, so you seek to change that? One way or the other, I suppose?
I don't think I'm going to be converting you. and I certainly don't have any reason for being anything less than what I currently am. So, given what your group desires, and given what I desire, yes, we're on opposite ends.
I do disagree with what you said, though. Changing your opinion about things wouldn't make you less. But, I mean, at this point, you're probably tired of me telling you that you could be so different, all that.
I've heard many promises in my lifetime, Thomas.
I'm not promising anything.
You have any other questions? Yourself, your companions, the state of weather, how long you've been unconscious?
I don't think the latter question really matters. As for asking about my companions, I think it would be rather rude to hear it from someone else rather than them. If they want to share something about them, then I will listen. Otherwise, we have worked together a lot and successfully. I see no reason to sabotage any relationships with inappropriate inquiries.
Inappropriate? Is it inappropriate to be well informed about everyone you have dealings with? After all, should you not seek to ensure that those you travel with are the best people to travel with?
It is inappropriate to question my companions' motives if they have given me no reason to.
Meaning that they haven't given you reason to question their motives through the months you've been together?
Not enough to warrant paranoia.
It's not paranoia at all. It's a matter of gathering information.
It's a matter of trust, I think.
Ah. So be it.
Well, considering you're unwilling to ask my most important questions, to my mind at least.
You have so many most important questions, Thomas.
Well, yes, otherwise I wouldn't ask them. Considering the limited number of questions and all.
You can try asking it. You'll see how far that gets you. Or you can save it. You'll be here for a bit.
Yes, perhaps that might be a reasonable idea.
Well, scion of the Great Gold Worm, I am a bit interested in seeing whether these diviners are true myself, and to what extent they are. I would like to see whatever strength you might possess, which might have been awoken by what happened to you, rise up within you through stress testing.
Torture.
No. That is an option, but it was not my first thought. For starters, we could have you fight Calarel in single combat, which carries a risk of death. We could have you fight... the strongest other dragonkin besides the two of us here, once we're gone, because we're going to be leaving. But that could result in death. We could have you attempt to escape from your current predicament. I will be relocating you. But that could result in death, as I won't be sharing your situation with any of the others. But But I know of another way, which could thoroughly apply the necessary stress and see whether we can awaken any of the latent potential within the scion of the Great Gold Worm. It'll involve being able to move and stretch, and you'll also be relocated to a better area beside the prisoner area for a time which would consist maybe of a day.
Are you implying what I think you're implying?
What am I implying?
Let's not voice it because... I mean, among the options, that certainly sounds like the best one.
I can't answer your question, which I'll consider to be the final question, without knowing what it is that you're thinking.
Oh no, I'll save that last one.
All right. Yes, you look interesting enough, and you are opportunity to me, as well as a curiosity. She leans in close, and Thomas gets a greater sense of the smell of mint and summer rain. And I am rather amenable. And I don't think I look that bad either. And certainly my bed, far more comfortable than what you're laying on. And I think it'll be a great form of exercise with no chance of death. Alternatively, you can fight her. And she gestures towards Callie, who you think is grating her teeth, just hoping for the chance to kill you.
I would prefer any option that does not involve death.
I thought you would be that sort. Splendid. And she'll actually look over to Callie. Why don't you take the mirror, put it back in my room, and prepare everything? I'll see to stuff here. Calorel will very slowly stand up, seething, and say, Scott, mistress, how could you even entertain the notion of letting him survive, and considering I will not let you have... Slave, I gave you an order. Don't make me use the collar. Callie will finger the collar around her neck, and she'll fall silent, and she'll pick up the mirror, and without another word, step out of the room. Maybe I should kill you. I would love to have her under my heel for the rest of my life.
I think it would get old rather quickly.
You're right. Okay. So, for Thomas, I'll go ahead and reveal more of the map that you're going to be having the opportunity to see, which is going to be basically the extent of this. Thomas is going to be spending, well, there's no sense of time considering the fact that he's underground, but he's going to be well-nourished and well-supplied as he spends his time in a bedroom, roughly the length of an entire day. Scarlet is very demanding and aggressive. She is a woman, a dragonkin, who is familiar with her desires, and Thomas will become familiar with her desires during that extensive time.
Oh, the sacrifices Thomas has to make.
Yes, yes.
Terrible.
Yes. But when it's all said and done, I can't sweep that. When it's all said and done, after Thomas's extensive sacrificing, let me see here. I don't have everything open that I needed to have open for this. Give me a moment.